Welcome to the Football Show. I'm delighted that my guest is Lee Mair on, of all weekends, a cup final weekend, because quite simply St Mirren are trying to do something that you managed to do, all those years ago. 2013, what are your memories of it?
There's a lot of memories. Obviously, the build up to it is incredible. You look forward to it, and everyone's buzzing leading up to a cup final. So I know what the guys at St Mirren are feeling right now. And then you just get there on the day, and it's a cup final, so anything can happen. And unfortunately, on the day we managed to beat Hearts and win the cup. But then it's the 3 or 4 days after it as well. It's an amazing time because you're away celebrating. So just overall, just an incredible experience.
And a lot of players who've played in finals will mention the fact that if you're out with Celtic and Rangers, suddenly you get the chance to parade it in the town, in the city, and enjoy it and revel in it. Something that Celtic and Rangers fans miss out on.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at it that way, I've never played for those clubs, so I've never really thought about that. But the open top bus round Paisley afterwards was just incredible. And then, as I say, the parties for days. All the team got together and we went out and done a pub crawl in Paisley afterwards. But I don't know if it's a normal Monday in Paisley, but there was no one working because everyone was in the pubs with us. It was just incredible times. We went on pub crawls and we drank every bar dry, and then we were just moving to the next one. But incredible, even getting goosebumps now thinking about it. People in pubs and flags and that flying Monday afternoons. It was just incredible time for. And a lot of people, it's their happiest memories.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me about Paisley, Lee, because I actually lived there, and on a Monday night they used to go to Toledo Junction in Paisley, where the trendiest people all used to go and get absolutely plastered. We go to the wine bars. It was a great nightlife. Paisley people know how to party. You had a good team.
We did. We had a great team, we had a great squad. When you look back on it now, you're John McGinn, Kenny McLean, Stephen Thompson, Gary Teal, Consalves, Paul Dummett was up on loan from Newcastle, Craig Sampson in goal, Jim Goodwin. Incredible squad we had back then. So I wonder how that team would do in the league nowadays. But it was great. I think I played in 4 cup finals. It's the only time we never played against an old firm team, and it's the only one we managed to win. So obviously it's going to be difficult for St Mirren this week because it's up against Celtic. They're used to cup finals. They're used to winning. But it's as I said earlier, it's a cup final, so anyone can win it.
What do you make of St Mirren? I mean, amazingly, he's got them into top 6 finishes. I think they've punched above their weight with a special manager. This season, he's having his difficulties.
I don't think the league position reflects how they've been doing, because I think they've been doing well, and every team that plays against the St Mirren say it's a tough team to play against, it's a tough place to go. So, and Celtic played against them a couple of weeks ago and they managed to score with their only shot on goal in the 94th minute. So Celtic know it's going to be a tough game, and they know they've got a new manager in. There's a little bit of unsettledness there just now, so they're going into a cup final. But like you say, St Mirren, what they've done and what the manager's done in the last 3-4 years, and I go behind the scenes as well. Since Keith Lashley came in, he's totally changed the club and the mindset of the club and what they're now doing and what they're doing as a community. The whole thing has just gone to a different level. Been in Europe for the first time in donkey's years, as you say, top 6. I think it's 3 years in a row now, which is incredible. We never achieved that with that team that we just spoke about. So incredible what the club's done and what they're doing, but they've got plans to go even further. They're not happy just staying there, but to win a cup final will just be the icing on the cake for them.
Just picking up on that point that you made there, do you think it's a good time to get Celtic?
I think everyone agrees it is, yeah. But it's the same thing. They're an unbelievable club, an unbelievable team, unbelievable players. Maybe a little bit of a wounded animal just now, so you don't know what to expect from them. But they've just lost. They've got a new manager in the door for 2 days. They've just lost a top of the league clash. They obviously play in Europe tonight, which we don't know what way is going to go. If they lose that, it could knock confidence again, and then they're going to a cup final under even a bit of more pressure. But again, if they get a good result tonight, then they go in there with going into a cup final on confidence. And it's one of those that we don't really know yet, because the manager's it's that fresh. He's only been in the door not even a week, so we still don't know what sort of Celtic's going to turn up. But I think tonight's game will have a big importance on it. So from a St Mirren point of view, they're hoping it's Celtic get tired, maybe get a couple of injuries, maybe get a bad defeat, turns the fans against them again. So they're going into that cup final at the weekend in even less confidence.
Let me ask you about the way things have changed. 2013, obviously, you had the internet, you had social media. It's intensified now. The criticism and the hysteria that surrounded Wilfried Nancy coming in, some of the comments have been bordering on lunacy is the only way I can sum it up. Are you surprised by that? Do you think some people need to take a step back here? He's only in one game.
I think people definitely need to take a step back. I think people think because it's on social media it's only having a laugh, but that grows. That it's a snowball effect. What comes on the back of that, and you see all these memes. We're playing Connect Four at the side of the pitch. Yeah, it's funny, but it grows arms and legs. And this is a guy that's moved to the country. He's obviously a great high calibre. What he's done, people respect him very highly enough. You're not getting the Celtic job without having some sort of great CV on you. So I think there's maybe a little bit of disrespect there from this country as well, but he's that fresh in the door. He's now thinking, wow. If you didn't know what Glasgow and Scottish football is all about, he definitely knows already with his short period of time here. But he's obviously, it's going to take him time to get his feelings across to his team and how they want to play. But when you go back to the tactics board and stuff like that, every manager in the world has used a tactics board. So I think the fact that because he lost 2-0, it's highlighted and stuff, and you kind of communicate and things. Every manager does it. Every dressing room I've been in would use a tactics board. So I think if we'd won 2-0, we wouldn't even be speaking about it. But it's just, as I say, it's the press here and it's the hype, and as you say, social media is it's got its good points, but it's also got its horrible points, and this just emphasises the horrible points. So the guy's just in the door. He probably was still jet lagged when the game was going on because he hadn't been in the country that long, and I think the country's just jumped on him straight away. So I think he'll do well. I don't think you can't do well because the squad they've got, the budget they've got, and the facilities and things. So I just think he needs time just to get his feet in the door, get rid of the jet lag, and then hopefully they can. Well, I say hopefully they can pick up after Sunday, after St Mirren win the cup. But hopefully they can pick up, because what this country needs is a good Celtic, a good Rangers. It drives everything up, and then it brings Aberdeen up, it brings Hearts, it brings your Dundee Uniteds, St Mirren's. Everyone lifts up on them doing well in Europe and things. And as a country, we need the two big old firm guys firing all cylinders.
Do you think we've got a responsibility in the media, the radio, the broadcast and the written press, to also try and offer a balance on how we put pressure on managers and players? Is it something that we need to check ourselves with as well? Because that is something that has aired itself in the last 3 or 4 days as well.
I think, it's a difficult question to answer, because I think everyone needs to take a bit of responsibility, because things with social media, everything gets highlighted, and then you can post one thing now and then in the space of 10 minutes 1 million people have seen it. Back in the day, that wasn't really the case. I say back in the day as if we're really old people here. we are a bit old, right? But going back, you never had that. But if you had your feelings, you could share them with your mates and only a dozen people knew. But now you can get it through a whole fan base, and then that just starts spreading a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of, get him out. Oh yeah, I agree with him, get him out. And it's just, so that's a bad side of social media. And then on the back of that, board members then think, all right, okay, the fan base isn't happy because they see more of it. And I think that's the horrible side of social media. But going back, as I say, 5, 10, 15 years ago, when social media wasn't as strong, there wasn't that much pressure on managers. You see managers now getting the bullet after 6, 7, 8 games, and I'll be honest, it's one of the reasons why I left the game. I retired 7, 8 years ago now, and I've done all my coaching badges, done my B licence, done my A licence. I left school at 16 straight into football, 20-year career. Naturally thought the next path is to go into management. Tried it for a year, never really liked it. And I thought, right, I need to get out of here, because I was at 4 or 5 mates in the space of 6 months that had gone into management that had got the sack, and I thought, they've got families, they've got mortgages, they've got uncertainty. Where do they go now? So for me, I'm glad I'm out of football. As much as I love football, we all do, we love it because it's all we know and we live and breathe it. But I'm glad that I'm not in the football world anymore, because, as I say, you get a 2-year contract as a manager. You could be gone in 3 months, and then where are you going from there? And I suppose it's part of the job. And if you're in football, you've got a thick skin, and you need to deal with that. But it's the horrible side of the game. And as I say, social media adds to that with the pressure that builds on managers.
You mentioned the manager of Celtic may well have a jet lag. He certainly wouldn't have had a lot of time to work with them. Everybody's open to opinion on how he set his team up. He clearly likes a kind of a 3-4-2-1, maybe a 3-5-2, but he likes 3 central defenders. Do you think he should have maybe held off on that, or is it a case of this is the way I play, this is my ethos in football, I'm going straight in regardless? Because they came a cropper against Hearts, and I wonder if there's enough time, give me it from a footballer's point of view, is there enough time to get a message across to play that formation again this weekend in the cup final?
Again, I look at it from a player's point of view. If a manager come in maybe 2 days before a game, he's not really got a lot of time to work with the players, especially there might be a slight language barrier there as well. The fact that he doesn't really know the players, he won't know the players yet. It's a fact that But if that's the way he wants to play, he's maybe saying, "Look, guys, look, this is it. You learn this way." And so straight away he set his boundaries there. Guys, this is the formation. This is what we're going to go and do. But you go back to that as well. I thought they played well against Hearts. They missed a good few chances that if they had scored, it could have only been 2-3-0. So if you don't take chances in games, you don't win them. Very simple and straightforward. But he's obviously, that's his formation. But going back as a player's point of view, you're thinking, wow, he's just in the door. We're getting used to a new manager, new coaches. He's now in this new formation. So there is going to be a little bit of uncertainty there. It'll be interesting to see how he plays tonight in Europe, and then obviously takes that forward into the cup final. But he's had an extra week to work with the players, so he'll have been getting that information across to them and how he wants to play. And he'll see as well. He's going to be a smart manager. He's not going to go and stick with this formation 3-4-2 or 3-4-3, whatever it is, if the players don't fit it. So he'll have had time with him and his staff to look at it over this last week and think that actually we're maybe better suited to a 4-4-2, and he might want to get his players in to fit the formation that he wants to. But I did find it very strange that he came in lack of time time to work with the players on that formation, to just go to a new formation. But look, he'll learn from that as well. He's obviously a smart guy. You don't get the Celtic job without being a smart, clever guy. So he'll have assessed that. He'll have assessed what went wrong. He'll have assessed what went right. And I'm sure he'll try and put it right tonight, and then obviously for the cup final on Sunday.
Stephen Robinson is a manager that I admire greatly. I think he's also equally as smart. Great motivation for the players, great relationship with the players. As I mentioned to you, they've had a bit of a sticky patch, but overall they've got a good group of players who are able to mix it up. I think sometimes people are unkind in suggesting that they're a kind of a long ball physical team, which I don't see. I think they've got enough in the mix to vary it. How do you see them?
I agree with you there. I think they've got a bit of everything. They're fast, they're physical, they're strong, which if you look at it, that's all attributes that every footballer should have in the world, because that's things you can work on yourself. So first and foremost, you give respect to every player because they are fit, they're fast and they're strong. So that's individual person have looked after that attributes to become a professional footballer. So fair play to them. Steve Robinson, what he's done is, forget St Mirren, look what he done to Motherwell. He got Motherwell to Europe, he got them to cup finals. He's now doing the same with St Mirren. So from a manager, I don't think there's many better in Scottish football in the last 10-15 years. He must be up there anyway because of what he's done with, let's be honest, the so-called smaller teams. Motherwell and St Mirren probably won't like that quote, but when you look at it outside the old firm and stuff, they probably would be expected to be down the bottom of the league. When I was at St Mirren, the aim at the start of the season was stay in the league. Steve Robinson has changed the mindset. It's no, we're not staying in the league. We're top six. We're pushing for Europe now. So total different mindset what he's done. As I say, he's done it at Motherwell. He's done it at St Mirren. So incredible what they've achieved. And I think, going back to your question, they can mix it. They can play. If it's a hard fight and it's going to be a battle, they're up for that as well. But as you say, they have got the quality and they've got the skill set and the players in the attacking area that can create problems. So Celtic are not daft. They got a difficult game from a couple of weeks ago, so they'll know it's a difficult game on Sunday. So it's actually an exciting game, actually.
Yeah, I look at their side and I put together a kind of a little list here of some of the players: Shamal George in goal, Fraser, King, Freckleton, McMenamin, Phillips, Taylor, Gogic and Declan John, then Mandaron and Ayunga up front, who are those two who really put themselves about. I mean, you've got a few subs like Bacchus and Richardson, Lundaloo in there as well. He's got a good squad to call on. Where do you think, or who in that team do you like watching that you think can cause problems?
I think Gogic is brilliant. He's one that stands out. He's a leader. He's a natural leader. You see him, he reminds me a bit of Jim Goodwin, that he's not the most skillfulest player in the world, but he's the first name in the team sheet because he's going to lead, he's going to fly into tackles, which will then lift everyone up, he's going to drive the team forward, and then the two up front are a handful. And I think that's where potentially St Mirren could win the game. I think Celtic have struggled at the back with Vickers being out, so I think the strength and the physical ability of those two could be problems for Celtic, and I wouldn't be surprised if St Mirren are saying, right, get it forward to them too, because if that's going to cause Celtic problems, you play at your strengths. So that's where I see St Mirren being a handful. But all over the pitch, they've got players that can, in 1v1 situations, they're strong, they're physical, and they look after themselves. You combine that together with what Steve Robinson's created as an unbelievable team spirit, then it's no surprise to see them in cup finals.
Now, I don't know overall. I know what you were like as a player in 11-a-sides. I don't know what you're like in a 5-a-sides. I like what you're saying about Gogic. I'd take Gogic in my 5-a-side team because I'd pick a fight with somebody knowing he was alongside me. Because he's a fearsome character, isn't he?
Well, if it's a five-a-side team, you wouldn't be in the team anyway, so you don't need to worry about that. But no, that's exactly what I say. He is the next generation Jim Goodwin. He's probably a bit more got a bit more legs in him than Jim Goodwin, but he's that type of guy that, you know, if I fly into a tackle here and I need backup, he's right behind me, and we knew that with Jim Goodwin.
I thought he could play a bit as well.
He definitely can. I think his legs have gone a little bit, so he's played more at the back, but he reads the game well, and he's always up against the strikers. Strikers know that they're in a game with him, so he's a great leader for the football club and a great leader on the team every Saturday as well.
What would you do as a tactic then if you were St Mirren? You know what it was like with your manager in the cup final against Hearts, who undoubtedly would have gone into that game as the favourites. Based on the fact that they've narrowly been beaten by Celtic twice, what would you use as a tactic? What Hearts did was they said, well, we'll surrender the wide positions and we'll keep it really compact in the middle, so that if they're going to break you down, Celtic are not going to throw the ball into the box because they haven't got a big centre forward. They've got Maeda, so they constantly try and play. What do you think his tactics? Do you think he'll take a leaf out of Derek McInnes's book?
It's difficult because because with the new Celtic manager, you don't know how they're going to play. So they'll be watching tonight. They'll be all over that. They'll be studying it tonight. But I think what St Mirren will take for more confident is the last 2-3 games against Celtic. St Mirren have probably been the better team. A little rub of the green, but what they need to take from that as well is that they've been the better team, but Celtic have still managed to go and win the games and score goals. So it's about, when you're on top, you need to be ruthless. You need to be ruthless because you know you might not get many chances, so when you do get them, you need to take them, and at the same end you need to be tight and not give away much opportunities, because Celtic, I was at the game there, and Celtic scored 94th minute, their first shot at goal, and they go away and win the game, and they're all happy and stuff. But what I think St Mirren can take from that is, we've outplayed them here, we've been the better team, so they can take confidence going into this, knowing, right, we've got an opportunity here, we've got a right chance, we just need to be ruthless. It's the old saying, you need to be ruthless in both boxes. That's where games are won and lost. Don't concede, and go in when you get those 2 opportunities or 3 opportunities, go and be ruthless and take them.
Celtic, I look at their side, Schmeichel, if it is that 3, it's Trusty, Scales and Tierney, 3 lefties. Then it's Yang, McGregor, Engels, Taneke, Nigrin, Hatate and Maeda, and then he looks towards his bench. Who impresses you?
As I said earlier, it's an unbelievable squad. The thing is that you could go and make 5-6 changes to that, and it doesn't really weaken the squad. But what the thing is just now is, and a big thing in football, is confidence. These players are not as confident as what they were this time last year. So they've obviously had to change their manager. They've had a little bit of press going against them, which they're maybe not used to. So football's all about confidence. And look, it doesn't matter who comes into the Celtic team. They're a good player. They're well trained. They've got good football IQ. They're clever. You look at all those attacking players there. They can all be dangerous. But what St Mirren have got is they've got a tight unit, and they're hard working. So hopefully they can. I'm saying hopefully, I'm obviously coming from a St Mirren background here. I want St Mirren to win. Hopefully St Mirren can stop these guys finding little holes, because these guys are very clever footballers. If St Mirren can keep that tight and keep them as far away from goal as possible, because they're all dangerous, they can all score goals. And as we touched on there, the Hearts game, yes, Celtic lost that, but they had a couple of opportunities early doors. If they score, it could go on and be a different thing, because you score a goal, your confidence gets higher. And what St Mirren don't want is these Celtic players playing in high confidence, because it's one of the biggest things in football. No, if you're a professional footballer, you've got ability, you've got there through something. It then comes down to your confidence levels at that time. If you're confident, you try things first time. If you're not confident, it might take you 2 or 3 touches. You might be scared to make that defence split and pass. I'm going to go back because I don't want the crowd to get on my back. So I think Celtic are maybe there just now. As I say, tonight's result is going to be massive going into Sunday as well, because if they lose tonight, they're then going into a cup final. And if they lose 3 games in the first week, the manager's off to an unbelievably bad start. And we've seen what the press done to Russell Martin a couple of months ago, that the pressure's then going to pile on top of them. So to answer your question, they're all skillful players. They can all be dangerous, but what St Mirren need to do is be in their faces and not let them give them time to play. But as I say, it's an exciting cup final, because there's normally a team that you think, oh, they're massive in front. This one, I don't think it is. I think that Celtic will be favourites, right? Massively, because of the experience and what they've done in cup finals over the years. But I think it's closer than what a lot of people think.
Just on that point, forgive me for inflicting my opinion on you, of the players that are there, the one special player for me over the last 5 years in Scotland has been Callum McGregor. I think he's the best midfielder by some distance. Do you think Stephen Robinson will try and say, right, listen, let's press, let's negate him, and if we stop him being the linchpin for them going left and right, then we've got a chance.
I think so. I think a lot of teams that have got success against Celtic have done that, because when McGregor's confident, he's dictating games, Celtic tend to win games. So I think there will be a way of thinking, do they maybe drop a striker onto him just to not give him as much space? But for Celtic's point of view, what they then need is, if McGregor's having a quiet game, they need the other guns to step up round about him. I don't think they've had that lately. I think they've had people that are maybe not used to the press that's going on, the negative press that they've had the last couple of months, and they're not used to that, so they're thinking, so they're maybe even a little bit quieter. What Celtic need is all these guys to step up, and if they do, St Mirren need to be on their toes, because, as I say, a confident Celtic team that are flying on all cylinders is going to be difficult. But touching on McGregor, I agree with you, he's been one of the best Scottish players we've had in numerous years. I wish he never retired from Scottish football, with the World Cup coming up, but because that would have been interesting to see him in the squad, because it would strengthen the squad again. But yeah, a great footballer, and one that St Mirren will need to be aware of at the weekend.
Couple of points to finish then, and the big one, because you never shirked a tackle in your life, so give me your prediction.
I'm going to go 2-1 St Mirren. I just think that I need to, right? No, but I really do. I've been to a lot of St Mirren games this year, and I do think that there's something, I don't know, just got a feeling. I seen them in the semi-final against Motherwell, and they were outstanding. Motherwell been a great team this year. St Mirren bullied them, they got in their faces, they scored unbelievable goals, they were powerful, they were fast, they were strong, and I just think this Celtic team is lacking that little bit of confidence just now, and I think if St Mirren start on the front foot, I think they can win the cup final, and I really hope they do.
Okay. For the benefit of people in the podcast, they won't know where I'm recording this. For the benefit of people on our YouTube channel and across our social media platform, they will know that I'm in your offices. You're away from football. What is it you're up to?
So I retired from football 8-9 years ago, and I've now got my own commercial mortgage. Let's say that again. I've only got my own finance brokerage, a commercial brokerage. Set this up 2 years ago, Mair Finance. So yeah, it's going really well. It's different to football, right enough. You actually need to work for a living now, and it's not just 2 hours a day. You're working about 15 hours a day, but it's slightly different. But yeah, really enjoying it.
And in your office, it would be, there's only two of you here, but behind us, again, I've got to describe it, there are so many toys, socks and lots of things that look next to that Christmas tree as if it's a kid's dream. So explain to me what you're doing.
So I always love giving back, and we'd thought about doing it last year, but we just ran out of time. So this year we've set up a campaign called Give Mair This Christmas, and it's about, I heard a stat that I think it's a third of kids in Scotland are living in poverty, which just breaks my heart to think that there's kids going to wake up on Christmas Day without any presents. So we've set up a campaign for people to donate toys and donate money, and we're going to deliver it to 3 charities across Scotland. What I'm decided to do is, again, give back to the communities that helped me as a footballer. So I played in Paisley with St Mirren, I played in Dundee for both Dundee clubs, and I played for Aberdeen. So we're giving it to charities in Paisley, in Dundee and Aberdeen. We are dropping toys off and cash next week to them. So as it stands just now, we've raised $7,500, and as you see here, we've got an office full of toys. It looks like Santa's grotto. So we need to close the campaign in about 4 or 5 days, because we need time to get the toys to the charities for them to distribute. So there's still 4 or 5 days for people to donate, and as I say, I would love to get to 10 grand, give the charities, and just try and help as many families as can, because I know that this can be a very stressful time of year for families. So if we can help as many as we possibly can, then it's always good to give back.
It's a brilliant gesture, so I'm going to give you that platform to tell everyone right now, what can they do? Is there a link somewhere where they can actually donate?
So there's a link, you can find it on my LinkedIn, or you can find it on my Instagram page. There is a link to donate cash, and as I say, every single penny will go towards the charities. I'm dropping the stuff off on Paisley next Wednesday, and we're going up to Dundee and Aberdeen on the Thursday, or you can drop toys off at the office, or we can arrange to pick toys up. So we'll do whatever we can to help as many kids as we possibly can. So if anyone wants to help, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, brilliant gesture. You going to the game on Sunday?
Unfortunately, I'm not. My wife has decided to run the Malaga Marathon, so I'm off to Malaga for the weekend. So I will be sitting in a pub with my St Mirren jersey on, watching it from there. But I'm gutted because I got invited to hospitality from St Mirren. So I was there for the semi-final, and again, it was looking forward to the final. But unfortunately, I won't be there. But hopefully they can they can get the victory without me being there.
Yeah, well, on behalf of everyone at the football show and PLZ Soccer, your wife needs to take a long, hard look at herself and plan some of these marathons and half marathons in a better way. But nevertheless, sunshine, cheering her on. You've got a few drinks. I hope you enjoy yourself. Thanks very much, Lee, for joining us. That's an absolute joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Top man.
Bye.